Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Larry Snow, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the new and improved JotForm Report Builder. Stay tuned, it's coming up next. Now, some of you may know that I'm a big fan of JotForm. I love what they do. I love what their innovations. They're always creating new things. They're always improving on what they are, the UI, the UX, and their widgets and integrations. I've been using JotForm for over a decade now, and I recommend it to anyone who wants to do more than just the casual form on a website. So let's dive into the report builder. And the first thing that you notice is that it is absolutely free. You do not have to have a JotForm account. But for this demo, we're going to be taking a look at the data from a survey we did a few years ago. We're going to plug that into the report builder and see how it all comes out. So let's dive in here. All right, I'm logged into my JotForm account, and we'll scroll down here to the survey. And you'll notice over here it says more, and if I scroll up a little, it says open in report builder new. So that's what we want. Now, I was testing this out before, so we will ignore those two and we'll click on create new, so you get to see the experience. So we'll give it a report name. That's good enough. And to start off with, we have three options: blank, extended report, and compact report. So we'll do the extended, click create. Now JotForm plugs in this lovely blue, which I really like, so I'm not gonna really fudge around with that. But let me just show you the lay of the land here. So the first thing we see is this little blue cog, so we can click on that. And this will give you the general layout styles. So we have the dimensions here, and you have a couple of A4s and A5. You can do web, and you can do custom. So there's your options there, and then you can go over to style, and this will be your background color for your slides. I'm calling them slides because it does produce a PDF when you download it. Just my own nomenclature. You could call it pages, you call it slides, whatever you'd like to call it. For me, I'm calling it slides. The neat thing here is that you can choose a color palette. So if you click in here, you can choose any of these color palettes. I like this one, so that's the one I'm going to choose. But you can add your own palette here. You can click on here. You can add in your own brand colors. We will click back. And because I clicked on that, we lost that. So we'll click that again. Then we'll click out of it. Before we go any further into the chart slides, we'll go over here to the left and click this plus button. And we have some basic elements that we can add in to our report. We have text, we have headers, we have images, shapes, icons, and grids. And you can also put in your report elements. So if I wanted to drag that out, it would be dragging out on a slide. So that's kind of like where you want to do the start from scratch type of thing. And if you click on each page or slide, like I click in here, the edited part here, I can have another little settings here, and I can click on that, and I can do different shapes. I can do ellipse, I can do rectangle. So that's for that different color down there. I can do a line, a triangle, a star. I can do a fill color, all that for that shape. If I click on the title here, I click on that, and I can change the font family, the font size, and the alignment. I can do an align if I wanted to, and I can change that for the subheader. Same thing here, styles and all that. So each little area has their own setting. If we scroll down here, we see our first chart, little pie chart here. And if we click on that, we have our little cog again. So we click on the cog for item settings, and we have the chart title here, which we can change. We have the summary, which we can remove. So the summary is 237 responses. If we remove that, and we can change our chart type. So we have basic, donut chart, pie chart, and notice how it's suggested. And we'll get into that in a little bit when we see different varieties of charts. We have a column chart and a bar chart. You can also opt to show the legend or the table grid. The table grid is where the responses come from. We'll turn that off and turn on the legend. And then you can position the legend. Over on the data side, you have the option to turn on or turn off chart options here. So we can turn off option name and turn it back on. We'll turn off the response value. I don't think that really adds anything. Percent total we'll keep. Here's our palette again. We can go in here and we can change it for this specific chart if we wanted to. Click back. And we'll talk about option limit in the next slide or the next page. And also notice that the sorting is by best response. You could do default and a custom sort. And you can also drag and drop these any way which you want to show a different way to put the data. One of the things to mention is under the little cogwheel, we have a duplicate item, we have a lock function, and we have a delete button. All right, we're all done with that. Now here's the slide I was talking about. Notice how it's in a grid, and what I was referencing there is the suggested. When you import or connect a form to JotForm, JotForm will, based on the type of data and the amount of data, will suggest the best option for that type of data set. And in this case, since we had 174 responses, and you can go through these, and it's quite lengthy, and JotForm's like, hey, you know what? I can't do anything with this, so I'm just going to put it in a nice grid for you. Well, one of the things you can do, and we saw this just in the last page here, is this option limit. So let's say I do not want to show 174 results. I only want to show the top 10. So you can set that there. Now, if we go into the General tab, we can say, all right, let's show the column chart. And it's much more presentable than a huge, gigantic grid. So if you've got data that's quite lengthy and you don't want to show it all, that's one of the options you have, is to set the limit on the data that is shown. And that is a really handy feature. So that's how you do it. You could just go through slide by slide and position the data how you want it, give it the color, give it the style, all that good stuff. And then when you're ready, you can preview it using the button up here in the top right. And you have a little settings feature down here to click through each of the slides or pages. You also have an option to print it here and to download it and to do a full screen. And you can also do different sizes here. You can do 80%, 130% if you wanted to make it bigger, that type of thing. We'll do fit. And when everything looks good, you just click exit and then go back to the slide to make changes if you see any errors. If you wanted to add a page, you just click this plus button here. If you want to reposition any of the pages or slides, you just do the up and down arrow to reposition it. And lastly, just these other top features here. Again, we have the download button here that we saw in the preview. And when you do download it, it downloads it as a PDF. And this is what it looks like as a PDF, just like it does in the preview. Nothing really different about that. The really big feature that really stands out to me, in addition to all the UI, the interface and all that, and how easy it is to sort all the data and make it pretty, this feature here. And this feature, let's say you have a form that's continuously getting information, getting results, maybe even like a poll or something like that, where people are continually need to fill it out, and you only want to get data for a specific time. So in this case, you could do today, last 3 days, last 7 days. You can do custom dates, the previous year. So let's just say you want to have a report for today and then send it off to your company or organization or your client and just say, okay, here's today's data. And that's what this feature does. And lastly, we have the publish button. Now, if you notice, it starts off at private access, and only people with a verified JotForm account can view this link. You can invite people using multiple email addresses separated by a comma. You can add a message and with the invite. Here's to copy that link. You can generate a new version of that file name or file link. In case it gets in the wrong hands, just regenerate a new one. And to switch it to public, you go into settings. And here's our public report. And also note, if I do private, it says I can set a custom expiration date. But let's go back to public. And also notice another feature here for company access. But here's our link settings. So we can show a print button, or we can show a download button, or both. We'll keep it with the download button. We'll go back. When we make it public, we can then embed it. And we can embed it with this code right here, this little div with the JavaScript in there. So we copy the code here, or if you're using WordPress or Medium, you just grab this link here and away you go. That's it, guys. That's a quick look at the JotForm new and improved report builder. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure you click the subscribe button and also that bell notification so you immediately get notified when a new video goes up on the channel. Thanks, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.